Hello everyone. Today we'll learn about two types of lasers. One is the ruby laser and helium neon laser. So let's start. Laser was the first successful laser in the year 1960. It is based on the three energy level concept. It is a solid state laser device. Why? Because it uses the ruby crystal Al2O3. It emits deep red light of wavelength 694.3 nanometer in pulsed form. Now, when we study about the lasers, we need to talk about the construction and working of the laser. Construction primarily means the three components of the laser along with the setup diagram shown here and an energy level diagram with respect to which we study the working. So let us start with the construction. The active material contained in this is cylindrical rod 8 centimeter by 5 mm diameter of ruby crystal Al2O3, which is doped with a small amount of chromium ions, around 0.05% of chromium ions, which actually form the metastable state also. Resonant cavity, which is the second component, it is made up of two optically plane mirrors, one fully reflecting and other partially reflecting, attached to the two ends of the ruby rod. Pumping system is the Xenon flash tube, which has the wavelength of 550 nanometer. And you see the diagram here. This is the Xenon flash tube connected with the power supply, and this is the ruby rod. And here we have the fully reflecting mirror, and this is the partially reflecting mirror, and the laser comes out of this point. What is the working of ruby laser? When flashlight of 550 nanometer falls upon the ruby rod, chromium ions in the ground state get pumped to the higher state E3, from where they lose some energy in 10 to the power 8, 10 to the power minus 8 seconds, and make non-radiative transitions to the metastable state E2. So we start with the process of induced absorption here. From E1 to E3 pumping takes place, and to the level 2.25 electron volt, from where the atoms fall down to the energy state E2, which is held at 1.79 electron volt, which is also the metastable state. So this is a non-radiative transition due to the spontaneous emission. Population inversion is created in between E1 and E2 energy levels. We get lasing transition, which is also the stimulated emission transition in between these two states, which produces a laser beam of wavelength 6943 angstrom. The produced light gets reflected back and forth by mirrors and gets amplified. So we get more and more stimulated emission and more coherent photons at the output. The beam becomes very powerful, very concentrated, and the output beam comes out in the pulsed form. So this is all about the ruby laser. Let me go to the second laser, which is called the helium-neon laser. Helium-neon laser is a continuous 4-level gas laser, and it uses a mixture of helium and neon gases. That is why it is called gas laser. And there are 4 levels involved in this laser, and it uses the 4-level pumping scheme. Here, population inversion is achieved by electric discharge and inelastic collisions. The main advantages of gas lasers are exceptionally high monochromaticity and high stability of frequency. Now the construction is, the active material here is a mixture of about 7:1 ratio of helium neon gases at the partial pressure of 1 mm of mercury. Resonant cavity is made up of two optically plane mirrors, one fully reflecting and the other partially reflecting, attached to the two ends of the cylindrical quartz tube of the size 10 to 100 centimeter length and 2 to 8 mm diameter. Pumping system consists of electrodes connected to a high frequency electric source. This is the setup diagram of the helium neon laser, which you have to draw. Working. The laser action occurs in the neons at neon atoms energy level. Helium atoms assist to achieve population inversion by imparting their energy to the neon atoms. The electron discharge excites helium atoms to the excited state at 20.61 electron volts. This is the helium ground state. and these are excited by the collision with electrons to 20.61 electron volt excited state. The neon atom has a metastable state at 20.66 electron volts. So this is the metastable state of neon atoms, which is very close to the helium atom's excited state at 20.61 electron volts. Now, upon collision between the excited helium atoms and the neon atoms in the ground state, we get neon atoms to jump to the metastable state by absorbing energy from these excited helium atoms, which then return to the ground state upon losing energy. Again, the electric discharge produced in the tube excites the helium atoms from the ground state to the 20.61 electron volt level, and the transition of neon atoms from the ground state to the excited state, which continues due to the collision with excited helium atoms. In a short time, the population inversion is achieved in neon atoms between the metastable state at 20.66 electron volt, this is the level, and the lower intermediate state 18.70 electron volts. So here the population inversion exists. The laser action occurs between the metastable state at 20.66 electron volts to the state at 18.70 electron volt, and a continuous laser beam of wavelength 6328 angstrom is emitted. So this is the laser transition in this case, and we get coherent beams at the output. So this is the working of a helium neon laser. And I should also add that all the electrons which come here at the metastable state, they undergo the spontaneous transition and they lose their energy and fall down to the ground state. So this is all about the working of helium neon laser. Thank you.